mothers formed the front line of a protest in Portland, Oregon on July 20, 2020. Nathan Howard/Getty Images. President Donald Trump called the wall of moms that formed to protect Portland protesters a scam. He said protesters are actually anarchists who hate our country and that the line of innocent mothers were a scam that mainstream refuses to acknowledge. Women in Portland have been forming human chains to protect protesters from federal agents sent in by Trump during the city's ongoing protests. The agents, who wear worn military-style uniforms without insignia, have put protesters into unmarked cars, used tear gas and impact munitions, and arrested people without explanation. Visit Business Insider's homepage for more stories. President Donald Trump has claimed that the wall of moms emerged in recent weeks to protect Portland protesters from federal officers in the city is a scam. Trump tweeted about the city's protests on Sunday evening, also calling the city's protesters anarchists. The protesters are actually anarchists who hate our country. The line of innocent mothers were a scam that mainstream refuses to acknowledge, just like they don't report the violence of these demonstrations. He wrote, referring to media coverage of the protests. Donald J. Trump, at Real Donald Trump, July 26, 2020. He did not elaborate on what he meant by a scam, or offer any evidence. His tweet quoted a tweet from Jennifer Franco, a reporter with right-wing One America News Network, OANN, which was sharing news that a U.S. District Court judge denied an order that would have prevented federal agents from arresting protesters in Portland. The federal agents were sent in by Trump earlier in July, with the administration saying they were sent to protect federal property. The agents have worn military-style uniforms with no insignia, snatched protesters into unmarked cars, arrested people without explanation, and shot at protesters at close range with impact munitions. Mothers raise their fists as they support a protest against racial inequality in Portland, Oregon, U.S., July 20, 2020. Reuters/Caitlin Oaks. Women in Portland have since formed a wall of moms to protect protesters from these agents. They first formed on the weekend of July 20 with around 30 women, and have continued since, with their numbers increasing. Women carry peace signs, wear bicycle helmets, and link arms as they from the front line of protests. Bev Barnum, who started the group, told BuzzFeed News she hopes that the women's non-threatening appearance would keep agents from confrontations with the protesters. We wanted to look like we were going to target, like normal people. Mothers stand between federal law enforcement officers and protesters during a protest against racial inequality in Portland, Oregon, U.S., July 19, 2020. Reuters/Caitlin Oaks. A wall of vets and a wall of dads have since joined the protests, with veterans and fathers aiming to protest demonstrators. Protests in Portland have now taken place for 60 consecutive nights, and were sparked by the death of George Floyd, an unarmed black man who died after a Minneapolis police officer knelt on his neck for more than 8 minutes. A woman holds a makeshift shield as she takes part in a demonstration against the presence of federal law enforcement officers and racial inequality in Portland, Oregon, U.S., July 21, 2020. Reuters/Caitlin Oaks. Floyd's death sparked demonstrations around the U.S., in what could be the largest social movement in U.S. history. Portland's protests have seen some vandalism and clashes with law enforcement, though they have mostly been peaceful. Local officials have criticized the presence of the federal agents and their actions in the city. Oregon Senator Ron Wyden said the U.S. could be staring down the barrel of martial law in the middle of a presidential election. He and Oregon Sen. Jeff Merkley have also said, the violent tactics deployed by Donald Trump and his paramilitary forces against peaceful protesters are those of a fascist regime, not a democratic nation. Federal officers deploy huge quantities of CS tear gas in Portland, Oregon on July 21, 2020. Over 1,000 people, including a large march of mothers, demonstrated for racial justice and against Donald Trump's insertion of federal officers in Portland, Oregon. John Rudolph/Getty Images. Oregon's lawmakers are calling for the agent's immediate removal, saying that neither the public, nor local leaders, nor federal representatives for the people of Oregon know who these agents are. Portland's mayor has also criticized agents' heavy-handed tactics. Police declared a riot on Sunday after protesters in downtown Portland toppled a fence surrounding the federal courthouse. The Justice Department's internal watchdog announced it will investigate the federal agents' response to protests in the city. Trump has announced his intention to send agents to other cities, as they have done a fantastic job in Portland. Loading something is loading. Close icon to crossed lines that form an X. It indicates a way to close an interaction, or dismiss a notification. Let's block ads. Why?
Show your love for him. Click the link in description. Thanks for watching.